A striking new review from Mass General Brigham uncovered that ChatGPT is almost 72% precise in pursuing clinical choices, including recognizing potential determinations and last consideration choices. A few pundits contend that computerized reasoning examinations aren't grounded in genuinely clinical necessities, yet not Dr. Mark Siegel. The New York College teacher of medication joined the huge cash show to reinforce his help for AI, while likewise advanced notice specialists to stay in charge of the strong innovation. Fox News benefactor Dr. Mark Siegel joined the huge cash show to give his interpretation of man-made consciousness and its troublesome effect on the clinical local area. Siegel prodded, "This study is from the Diary of Web Clinical Exploration, and they take a gander at the Merck manual and 36 situations from Merck, and they check out at it from start to finish." The more confounded it was, the less well ChatGPT did. It's somewhere close to 60% and 72%. The review was led by asking the chatbot to decide a potential conclusion for 36 standardized clinical vignettes. The AI bot had the option to decide a clinical conclusion precisely around 72% of the time, in view of the patient's side effects and individual clinical data. Analysts found that ChatGPT performed best in making last finding, where it was 77% precise. Then again, scientists were likewise ready to pinpoint ChatGPT's most prominent shortcoming, making respectful analyses. In this class, the chatbot was just 60% exact. At the point when it came to settling on clinical administration choices, for example, sorting out what meds to treat a patient with after the right finding, it was something like 68% exact. Digits Prime supporter and chief Jeff Seibert says man-made intelligence organizations ought to be more straightforward on their information utilization and says the public authority ought to begin fostering rules on how artificial intelligence ought to be prepared. ChatGPT organization confronting claim over information protection. Digits Prime supporter and chief Jeff Seibert says artificial intelligence organizations ought to be more straightforward on their information use and says the public authority ought to begin fostering rules on how man-made intelligence ought to be prepared. Dr. Mark Siegel continued proceeding to communicate his help for computerized reasoning. He said, "I believe it's a clinical device. This moment it's an exploration device. It can assist me with radiology, with disease conclusion. In any case, in the specialist's office, particularly on the off chance that there's a shortage of individuals for me to allude to trained professionals. Suppose I'm in a provincial region and I can't get a diabetes specialist on speed dial or an oncologist on speed dial. This might assist furnish more data with navigation. Along these lines, I view it as sure, yet specialists need to stay in charge of it. It isn't to supplant us," he focused. A hugely significant finding from the review was the chatbot's capacity to increment productivity in medical services, a basic need for clinical experts. Medical care is 66% of the gross domestic product, and it continues onward up each year. Furthermore, presently, increasingly thriving Medicaid costs. What's more, the public authority is paying a great deal. What's more, I feel that on a superficial level, apparently to further develop productivity, a ton, and set aside cash, Dr. Siegel said recently. Albeit the capacities of man-made brainpower appear to be limitless, Dr. Siegel brought up that an enormous aspect of his responsibilities is about sympathy, something that ChatGPT would never imitate. The issue is that a great deal of what specialists do is very nuanced, right? It's about empathy. It's about what I called the by the way analysis. It sets up one way, however at that point the patient becomes familiar with you and uncovers something they weren't expected to uncover. Also, that turns out to be their entire future not too far off. You can't supplant that with a PC. A PC isn't carrying sympathy or imagination to the circumstance. So it's about efficiency, Dr. Siegel closed.